obituaries at a time when, as Adam said, it was the thing that the newest reporter was stuck with. And they weren't particularly interesting. I was new to Norfolk, Virginia on the Pilot, and I wrote a few there. I've never been assigned to an obituary desk. It's never been a full-time job. Both at the Times and subsequently in my retirement, I've done them on essentially a freelance basis. Somebody would ask me, could you do Barry Goldwater? We hear he's fading, or something like that. These days, I can't, nor can I claim the sort of moral uplift that our moderator describes. I mean, I write mostly about former senators and former governors, and some of them are pretty decent fellows, but moral uplift, that's pushing it a bit. I try to look at them really as mini biographies. I have written a biography. And I find myself, first of all, with as much time as I want. I hardly ever do one on a spot basis. That is, somebody's died today or someone's about to die. So I usually take several weeks at it, not full time. I get paid a freelancer's rate per word and all. But I do the same sort of research that I would if I was doing a real biography, only less of it. And the charm of them is, I think, I start out at least with a general perception of former Senator so-and-so. I'd covered him probably, or certainly knew of him. And the joy of it is when you find something that you didn't know about him to begin with that's important. The Times has a rule that we're not allowed to discuss the ones that they have advances on. They've got about 1,500 advanced. They've got 24 of mine. But every now and then I've discovered something which, if it isn't the lead, it's at least the second paragraph. And sometimes it's something that the subject himself thinks is more important than what we end up leading with. And finally, one of the things I do that is similar to a biography is interview the subject as often as I possibly can. In some cases, they're not in shape to do an interview, but very often they are. People say, well, I find that strange. How do you interview somebody for a story about what he's going to be like when he dies? And I say, well, first of all, I mainly deal with politicians. So they don't see anything unusual in my calling up and saying, the New York Times has asked me to do a story about your career. If anything, they wonder what's taken them so long. Now, some of them are sharp enough to say, you mean you're writing my obit? Some of them figure that out in the middle of the interview. Oh, you're writing my obit. And some of them never figure it out. Those are the ones that, when I finish thanking them, they say, well, I have a question for you. When is this going to appear in the paper? To which I reply, I don't know, that's up to the editors.
It's up to you.
I don't put it that way.
Yeah.